British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon. My name is Selena Teixeira, and here's your latest headlines for 2 p.m. Halva desserts being distributed in BC and Alberta are being recalled due to the possible salmonella contamination. A release from the Canadian Food Inspection Agency says the recall involves a number of Halva products under the Chac Alcar brand with the best before date of August 25th, 2026. Consumers with the affected products are asked to not eat them. The sweets should either be discarded or returned to the place of purchase. The price of organized youth sports are preventing kids from gaining some key life experiences. Our reporter, James Nyo, has more on what kids could be missing.
There are two things that help kids bond and make friends: school and sports. While one is mandatory, the other is optional. But choosing that option comes at a price. That price has driven some parents away from sports, meaning kids don't get to learn the skills that are useful in everyday life. Kids Sport Tri-Cities Chair Chris Wilson says that kids learn a lot of different life skills when playing sports.
We truly believe that all kids really should get the opportunity to play a season of sport. Not only do they have fun and get exercise and meet new friends, but as they get a little bit older, they start learning about dealing with failure, taking constructive criticism, setting some goals, managing their time, all that kind of stuff.
Wilson also mentions that sports can help kids break out of a shy shell to become a leader. James Ngo, BCIT News.
With inflation, low wages, and the food prices skyrocketing, food insecurity in Canada has become an alarming issue. Nick Johnson, the manager of member service for Food Banks BC, speaks on the increase in demand for food banks and an uprise in users over the past few years. Our reporter Isabella Vertone has more on the story.
The rising costs in Canada in almost every aspect of Canadians' lives have affected people in ways they wouldn't have thought. Food prices have gone through the roof and everyone is feeling the pinch. Nick Johnson at Food Bank BC details this alarming issue.
It's a myriad of things, but ultimately it is a financial piece. If folks had the finances to afford the home that they live in, to pay for the groceries that they need from the grocery store, their gas, their insurance, whatever it might be, if they were able to afford basic living costs, they would not be showing up to food banks. We would not need to exist. So
Nick outlined that the rise of demand for the food banks is very much real and a reality for many. Food banks are all around British Columbia and available to those in need of assistance. Isabella Vertone, BCIT News.
A shooting on British Columbia's Sunshine Coast has killed a dog in what police say was a targeted attack. RCMP say officers were called to a home on Boyle Road in Gibsons on September 19th around 5 p.m. They say multiple shots were fired at the home and a dog on the property suffered a fatal injury. Investigators say they are looking for two unidentified male suspects who fired the shots before leaving in a light-colored sedan. Police believe the attack was targeted and are asking for witnesses or those who have video footage to contact investigators. RCMP say officers also want to talk to any drivers in the area around the time of the shooting who may have dashcam footage. Helicopters hum across a bright blue sky in southern Alberta as the search for a 5-year-old autistic boy stretches into its 4th day. The entrance to the campground where Darius MacDougall vanished Sunday is closed off to the public. Darius didn't return from a walk with family to their campsite at Island Lake Campground near Alberta-BC boundary. Search crews have been on rotating shifts and sleeping in a nearby Bible camp. RCMP say they remain optimistic the child will be found safely. They say foul play isn't suspected, but are keeping the investigation broad and looking at every possible angle of the disappearance. Pope Leo XIV has named a successor to the embattled Archbishop of New Orleans 2 weeks after the Archdiocese agreed to a $230 million settlement for survivors of the clergy's sexual abuse. Bishop James Chieko of Metuchen, New Jersey, was named coadjutor bishop of New Orleans. The position puts Chieko in a line to succeed Archbishop Gregory A. Amond, where he retires. Amond reaches the mandatory retirement of age 75 last November, suggesting that the Vatican keep him in place to finalize the abuse settlement and allow for an organized handoff to the successor. The New Orleans Archdiocese agreed September 8th to a $230 million proposition settlement to end one of the U.S.'s church's longest and most contentious legal battles over abuse claims. Ottawa's push to deepen Canada's international ties will send the Prime Minister Mark Carney to the UK this week. Carney will be in London tomorrow through Sunday discussing trade ties and other geopolitical issues with world leaders. Carney and his ministers have been deepening Canada's international ties, especially with Europe, in response to the U.S. trade war. Last week, the Prime Minister was in Mexico to strike a deal advancing economic and security ties. Now on to international news. The family of one of the 67 people killed when an airliner collided with an Army helicopter over Washington, D.C., is suing the government and the airlines involved, accusing them of failing to recognize the warning signs after more than 30 documented near misses in the area. ABC's Stephen Portnoy reports.
The lawsuit is filed on behalf of victims' families against American Airlines, regional carrier PSA, and the U.S. government. It alleges the January crash of the regional jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter was wholly avoidable, noting the number of near misses that had been known to occur near Reagan National Airport. The airlines are accused of cramming in more arrivals per hour. The Army is cited for failing to operate the helicopter at the proper altitude, and the FAA is blamed for not keeping the aircraft safely apart.
Federal authorities say a shooter with a rifle opened fire from a roof onto a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement location in Dallas, killing 2 detainees and wounding another before taking his own life. A law enforcement official who spoke to the Associated Press on the condition of anonymity identified the suspect as 29-year-old Joshua Jan. The attack happened on Wednesday morning. The FBI said at the morning news conference that ammunition was found at the scene containing anti-ICE messaging. The agency is investigating the shooting as an act of targeted violence, and authorities say that no ICE agents were injured and the detainee who survived is in critical condition. A drone launched by Yemen's Houthi rebels wounded 22 people in the southern Israeli city of Eilat on Wednesday, according to medics. It marked a rare breach of Israel's sophisticated missile defenses, which have greatly limited casualties from such attacks. In the Gaza Strip, at least 41 Palestinians were killed by Israeli fire, according to local hospitals. U.S. President Donald Trump's Mideast envoy expressed optimism over a new plan for ending the war, without saying what it entails or if Israel or Hamas have accepted it. In entertainment, Dwayne Johnson faces his fear in The Smashing Machine, a drama about MMA fighter Mark Kerr. Known for his confident persona in the ring and in the spotlight, Johnson says he was scared to tackle this vulnerable role of the film, opening next Friday. The film challenged Johnson to draw on his traumas and channel them into a moving performance. Co-star Emily Blunt and director Benny Sadfeh also say they pushed themselves creatively in the process. Johnson's transformation required extensive preparation, including physical changes and emotional intensity. Despite the challenges, Johnson says he finds the experience freeing and gratifying. His performance is already generating Oscar buzz, and here's the trailer.
Please welcome in his Octagon debut, Mark Kerr!
Winning is the best feeling there is. It's 40,000 people, and they're cheering you on. There's no other high like it in the world.
Now on to sports. Jackson Dart has taken over as the New York Giants starting quarterback at practice today, more than 24 hours after finding out the job is his. Dart says he's ready to show himself succeed.
Obviously just, for me, I'm thankful for the opportunity. I feel like I've worked hard and prepared, so I'm just excited to get out there on the field and try to execute, this offense to the best of my ability.
Quarterback Drew Brees and receiver Larry Fitzgerald have been nominated for the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame class in their first year of eligibility. Brees ranks second all-time in passing yards and touchdowns, while Fitzgerald is second in career receptions and receiving yards. 11 other first-year eligible players are also nominated, including Phillip Rivers and Alex Smith. The list of 128 modern-era candidates will be reduced to 15 before the final selection meeting. Willie Anderson, Tori Holt, Luke Kuchil, and Adam Veneter are guaranteed 4 of those spots after making it to the final 7 of the 2025 class. Nathaniel Lowe had 2 RBI singles at the Boston Red Sox Nathaniel Lowe had 2 RBI singles as the Boston Red Sox beat the Blue Jays 4-1, reducing Toronto's lead in the American League East just to 1 game. Kevin Gosman says he likes how the AL playoff picture is coming down to the wire with 5 games left in the regular season.
You know, it's crazy you play 162 games and it always feels like it comes down to the last week, which is nuts. I don't know how it always happens that way, but you know, it's exciting as a player. You come to the field with, you know, a little bit different edge, knowing that every game means a little bit more.
James Wood hit 2 home runs, and Josh Bell added another as the Washington Nationals snapped the Atlanta Braves' 10-game winning streak with a 4-3 win. Wood's 2 solo home runs gave him 30 for the season. He hit them in the 6th and 8th innings. Bell led off the 4th inning with his 21st home run. Here's the call on the Nationals radio network as Wood hits his 30th home run.
The pitch swung on, and Wood skies this one to center field. Harris going back again, way back, looking up, going, and gone. Goodbye. Right into the waterfall, over the center field fence. Bang! Zoom goes James Wood. He reaches the 30-home run plateau, his 92nd run batted in of the year.
Canada will host the United States in a pair of women's hockey games in Edmonton in December. The annual rivalry series between the 2 countries returns to Alberta for the first time since 2017. Currently, the weather is mainly sunny and will reach a high of 20 degrees as of now. Those were your latest headlines for the afternoon. I'm your host, Selena Teixeira, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
I would recommend this program for anyone that isn't sure what kind of job they want in media, because you learn everything from like public relations to communications to video editing, like radio, TV. So you do get a lot of experience in all the different fields in media.